So let's talk about how you can upgrade your newest Iron Bloom starter deck. Let's quickly do a recap of what makes you want to include cards from this deck. It gave us more early game vanilla options that allow us to play aggro along with other colors, as well as a great late game card in Gundam Barbatos with its suppression ability. We got some self-damaging cards like with Iron and Blood that powers up our units, as well as Mikazuki which also pings an enemy unit. Fatal Strike is a great answer to the current format that contain a lot of small blockers. Then, which color should you pair with purple? Let's start by pairing it with white, since that is the second color that came with the starter deck. So the idea here is simple. We want to run blockers and stall until we find our more powerful units, and eventually close the game after we run our opponents out of steam. Kinda like how we've been playing Freedom blockers and Wing Gundam Zero in the current format. We have early game blockers like Zoward and Gundam Ilfrith, and now even have more options with the inclusion of Gray's commander type. Aeostrike Gundam and Freedom Gundam remain to be some of the most powerful units in the game along with Kira Yamato. After we eventually overwhelm our opponents with blockers, we're hopefully open to swing in with Gundam Barbatos 4th form and end games faster than our opponent might be expecting it with suppression. And here's a simple deck list. I also do believe there is another variant with Gundam Era Rebuild that we can try out. Since there are now more commands that we want to be utilizing in our deck, being able to repeatedly use them on our turns is impactful. Having access to the trash to get back situational cards like Fatal Strike and Unforeseen Incident, or just to be able to get back Overflowing Affection to continue digging for answers may just be what decides the game. Plus, Soleta is just a good pilot that allows us to keep resources up on our opponent's turn or to be able to develop our board further. And here is a simple deck list. Let's pair purple with blue next. Because of Mikazuki's effect to ping an enemy unit, I immediately thought of how we've been playing blue-red ping in a set 1 format. Mikazuki can target enemy units that are not rested, that is better than our other options of Guntik and Engsha, but we do have a Muro Ray to rest those units along with Gundam to make favorable trades and buff up our board. Contrary to stalling to the late game with white, we are playing a more tempo-oriented game here with blue, to gradually win the board and close the game even before we have to drop the 4th form. And here's a simple deck list. Next up is red, and yes, like with blue, we can be playing a red-purple pink deck with Kshatriya. But I thought of something else. Since with Iron and Blood powers up our units, why not try a Zaft-based deck? Dual Gundam and Lego can both reach their 5 attack requirement with just 1 order. Both of these Zaft units have very good effects, but the reason why they aren't played much in the current format because it's not as easy to reach those thresholds with the card pool we had to work with. But now with those purple cards' main objective of ping our units, the buff is now a side benefit that we can take advantage of. And also, with our units likely to be damaged from trading into opponents' units, Izurubi is the perfect base for this deck. We can power up our units even more without further damaging them. Even Iga's Gundam can reach its 5 attack requirement with just a ping from Barbatos' 4th form or CGS Mobile Worker. Athrun is one of the best cards to come out of the previous starter decks that allow us to attack into active enemy units and still take down shields with Iga's Gundam's MA form. And now with a lot of AP buffing options, it becomes even easier to swing into blockers that may have high HP remaining. And here is a simple deck list. And lastly, we have green. I think this is probably the weakest color pairings of the ones we talked about today, but the version I decided to go with is an aggro deck utilizing the Zeon cards. We have a lot of early drops including Gray's Custom and our Zaku 2s, along with charged Zaku 2s and their link pilot of Charred Asenbo for those unblockable high maneuver swings. Fatal Strike becomes more useful than ever since it clears small blockers and allow us to continue our aggression. And the benefit of having purple here is that when things do get dicey in the later stages of the game, we still have Gundam Barbatos' 4th form to try and close things out with its bigger body to make way for our smaller units. And here is a simple deck list. With the addition of a couple new blockers, current top meta decks are also getting a boost. McGillis Strobe Grace is an earlier option that has a similar effect to Freedom Gundam. McGillis Farid is another resting option that will allow us to maintain board control by taking care of enemy units. And by getting lower level blockers, we're more free to play units like Sword Strike Gundam to further counter those aggro token strategies. I think we can experiment adding these set of cards into blue-white blockers. And here is a simple deck list. Although we only got a starter deck, I think the cards we got are decent enough for us to think about building decks around them. So far, I think pairing purple with either blue or white are the best choices just purely due to the fact that those colors have some of the best generic units to work with. What do you guys think about Iron Bloom, and how are you planning on upgrading it? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you all next time.